Buddy of mine, his younger brother was working with the agency, and we were talking, and he's like, yeah, I made $4,800 this month. And I'm like, really?
Like your first month in total sales, how much did you do?
Over 100 G's, well over 100 G's, probably like 120.
Yo, what's going on? So today I'm here with Ben. He's 24. He's been working with us closing for about a year and a half now?
About a year and a half.
Yeah, and just over these past 6 months, like, you started to make some serious bread, some serious commissions. But it wasn't always like that. So, you know, we'll talk about your story, the come up, what you're doing now, what that's looking like, and hopefully, you know, a lot of you guys can get a lot of lessons from it. We also got the big boss, Dylan, in the room. Dylan, welcome to the podcast, man. He needs a little introduction. If you don't know him, now you know. Yeah, Ben, I mean, why don't you, start us out? Like, give, where were you at? Like, remind me, before you started doing sales and closing, like, what were you up to?
So yeah, I was kind of bouncing around through like a few different things. I was always, I always knew like I was a people's person. I knew I was good at conversation and had the ability to like have insightful conversations with people, but I was never really put into an opportunity where like I could really thrive in that environment. So I was working different jobs. I worked like at a grocery store, at a paint shop, doing landscaping, doing snow removal. And like even before that, prior to that, I played baseball at a really high level. Like I played Division I baseball at University of Albany in upstate New York. And like that was always my vision, was that baseball was going to be what was going to be my life. You know, while I was like existing here, baseball was going to be my life, and that's what I was going to do full time. And then coming to the realization that that wasn't what I was going to be doing was pretty tough. So that's like why I wound up bouncing around place to place. Kind of just trying to find different things that I could excel in. And I never really had that thing where I could really lock into it and do well. Kind of tried to become a personal trainer, tried all those different odd end jobs, and then really wound up here. And it's been kind of a good story since. But that's kind of the background as far as, what I was doing before this. Nothing too glamorous.
Yeah, I feel like it's tough, like especially when you do sports at a high level. It's like you're just locked into this competitive mode every day, practice, trying to get better, trying to be great. And like it's tough because I played a little bit of sports, but like we talk to a lot of people on the phones now who basically have that background where it's like maybe they get a scholarship, whatever, and then when you realize like, okay, like I'm probably not going to go pro, like it's not an easy transition.
Yeah, it's definitely not, but I think like a lot of what comes with being, good at sports and excelling at sports at a high level is that, competitive nature and that desire to really excel in what you're doing compared to your peers. And like kind of just segueing into like the whole sales component of things, like I think that really helped me separate myself when it comes to like doing something like this, because I hated losing. Like I still hate losing. I hate, feeling inferior. I hate not really, being, near the top in whatever I'm doing. So it's like, it's a mentality that I take through this whole process as well.
Yeah, and like I feel like sales, it's so much. I mean, everybody thinks it's like what you say on the calls and like what sales strategy you're using, but like bottom line, it comes down to your mindset and how you're built.
Yeah,
it really is a sport.
Yeah, 100%. It's just the like holding yourself accountable. Taking that failure, showing up every day, being persistent. Like there's a lot of parallels between being good in sales and being good in the sport. But I guess you could also make that point for like anything that you're doing in life. It's just like having that competitive edge and that desire to be better than other people is probably what's going to separate you.
So you were what, like 22, 23?
When I started here, I was like, I just turned 23.
How did you find us? And what made you, like when you heard about like, closing and like what we were doing, like what made you want to be a part of it?
Yeah, so like I told you the story. So like a buddy of mine, his younger brother was working with the agency, and I was just kind of like, hanging out in his backyard one night during the summer, and we were talking, and he's like, oh, I'm doing this thing where like I'm selling consulting packages and coaching services over the phone. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I've never really, heard of something like that before. And he's like, yeah, I made $4,800 this month. And I'm like, really?
And the guy telling you that, he was like 18 at the time, right?
Yeah, he was 4 years younger than me. So I was like, really? Like $4,800? Like that's pretty good, bro. Like for what you're doing and compared to like what I'm, at my stuff right now. And it's like, not to discredit this guy, and I'm like, I feel like I could at least at the bare minimum match what he's doing. So if this guy is doing that, like what am I doing here, kind of just letting myself wash away. So I kind of got in contact, messaged Dylan like 4 times, left me on red like 3 times in a row. I was persistent though. It ties back into being persistent about, wanting to get stuff done. And then, and that's kind of just been locked in ever since.
I think the key thing there, which some people might not even realize, that you had that like athlete mentality translated to getting the job. And then also when you were talking, I think it was Adam, right?
Yeah, it was Adam. It was.
So even when you're talking, that guy is making that much, I could be making more. So that's like, you really have that inner, it's not inner, but it's, you have that like full package athlete in you. And I think really some of the most successful students that we've trained over the years come from a competitive background, whether it be sports, whether it be whatever it is, but coming from like that competitive, even athlete background is huge, because that mindset directly translates into your success in sales. Sales is really all mindset, right? I think you did something really key, which a lot of athletes kind of mess up on, because like we were saying earlier, a lot of athletes are like, they try and go pro, and then when they realize that, hey, this might not work out, they feel like they're starting from square one, but that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Because to become a high-level athlete, and to become high-level at anything, you have to build the foundations, and you have to have the building blocks that are directly transferable to pretty much any other career, whether it be sales or anything else. Right?
Yeah, no doubt.
So like, you did something really, really smart, which was taking that mindset, taking the things you learned, and then directly transferring that as a building block into something else. A lot of athletes, and I know a couple of people from high school who wanted to go pro, and that they went D1, realized that maybe they're not going to go pro, and then they're like, well, fuck, now I'm starting from square one, which isn't right, because at such a high level, it's like you built all the character traits that it takes to become a successful individual. You persist that, right? You know how to grind, you know how be self-motivated, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like you have all these characteristics. So the fact that, you've maybe worked a couple side jobs, but that the fact that you ultimately decided to transition that into something that has real upside, rather than just like being baseball or like working at a grocery store.
Yeah.
That was a really smart move on your.
Yeah, for sure. Without a doubt. And like, I think it's just like also just like a testament to like, you don't know which opportunities you're going to be able to get yourself into, and unless you really go and pursue them. Like, I didn't foresee myself really, doing something like this necessarily. Now I can't really see myself doing anything but sales, to be quite honest with you. But it's like, if I didn't take that opportunity to, have these conversations with Adam and kind of put myself in that, like, oh, I'm going to do something different, nothing would have ever happened. And like, just that idea of just like being persistent and really going forth with it, I think that helped me a lot.
Yeah, that's huge. I think another thing that's really important, there's this one guy on social media, she went to Isabel. He says one thing that I like. He does tend to yell at the camera a lot and bring like some pretty insane energy, which is a little too much for me at times. But one thing he says was really hit home for me. And I think it's absolutely true. Before you see any results, before you could become a successful closer, or successful athlete, or successful anything, you need to become the person that it takes to be a successful athlete, and the person to be a successful closer. And I think the fact that, you came from a sports background, you already had what it takes to be a successful closer. So you didn't really have to go through as much of the personal growth and the personal development, but rather mainly have to just focus on the sales development, as opposed to somebody who's never done anything like this. And first they got to develop the mindset, then they got to develop the person that they are, and only then they just start working on the sales skill. What do you think are the biggest things that you took from being a competitive athlete that translated into your sales career and allowed you to hit, you're making 15, 20K a month to have a year and a half in?
I think one of the biggest things, Dylan, for sure, is that like, and it might sound like morbid or something, but like, life's a lonely road, and having that accountability to hold yourself to that standard day in, day out, and that nobody's going to come and ever save you. That's what really kind of kept me driven. And I remember like my dad would always say things like, and I come from a decent background, and he'd always say things like, oh, I'm okay, but you're not okay. You know, like I have things, okay, but you got to go and work every day and make something out of yourself, or you're not going to get to where you want in this life. And that was like the same thing with baseball. It's like, even though no matter how good I was, there was always somebody better, and having to show up every single day and have that accountability to be like, I'm going to do what I don't want to do to achieve what I want to do right now. That's what's really going to put me in a position to do well. And then like all the other stuff, like, you know, the confidence, the communication, you know, the ability to work within a team. Like I feel like I get along well with, you know, most people who I work with. And I think that that's a big testament to always being around a team environment. But yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is that like that idea that like, oh, no one's going to save you. You got to do it if you want to do it. And if you want to make something happen, you got to step up and make it happen. I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, no, that's huge, because whether it's sports or sales or life, really, you know, you can listen to all the shit people say about teamwork and they're part of a team, but at the end of the day, you're only part of a team when you are able to contribute to that team and to get them to that point. That journey, you're a lone fucking wolf. Yeah. Right? Sales, you're a lone wolf. Your growth playing baseball, you were a lone wolf until you got to the point where you're part of a team. So I think understanding that and really being able to push through and, you know, just ride it out without having to have a fucking babysitter, I think that's also something that really contributed to your success.
Yeah, for sure. Like even like to go deeper on that, like my position in baseball. So I was a pitcher, and like if you're not too familiar with baseball, like the game runs through the pitcher, and the game doesn't start until the pitcher takes action and makes his pitch. And like, even though it is a team component, like when you're standing there on the pitcher's mound and like you're ready to go and make your move, it's lonely out there. Like no one's gonna save you. Like if you don't do what you have to do, your entire team suffers. Where it's like you really have to have that accountability that you're gonna get it done. And like completely agree with what you're saying. And I feel like that's probably the biggest thing for me. I also probably just like the confidence that like, oh, if I always felt like if I had the opportunity to do something, I would be able to excel in it. But like I went to York and I went to Seneca and I'm like, fuck, like I don't know, like this, I don't really feel like I could be successful here. When I did, you know, I saw what was going on here. Like my first week here, I'm closing, like you know, people are paying me like $1,500, $2,000 on the phone. I've been doing this for a week. I've spoken to them for 30 minutes. Now I have people making these kind of commitments. I'm like, yo, like this is like something that's real. Like this is something I can really do. And like, since that like first week of doing this, there's never been any doubt in my mind that like this is something that I can do. And I think that's a big thing too.
Remember from your first week, because that's back when we were closing in the unfinished section of the office. Yeah. I remember how like competitive you were.
Yeah, it was. Remember, I beefed a few people too. Like,
I remember having to do some HR the week you came in.
It wasn't even beef. I remember I went up to like, oh, it was Cody, and then Cody was like, I was on the phone. I was like objection handling, and he said something like, he was trying to give me some game, which was like really nice of him. Like he was trying to give me some game, and then I'm like, bro, like shut the fuck up. Don't talk to me while I'm on the phone. Like I put the phone on mute, and I'm like, bro, like quiet. You could talk to me after. And I think like, it wasn't nice to do, but like it's true, bro. Like I didn't want to hear anything like that in the moment. Like that was just what it was. But it was very competitive. I am very competitive in everything I do. If you're trying to get into sales, like for sure you gotta have that competitive nature. No one's gonna save you. You gotta make the sales. So.
And I think too, just kind of going back to what you were saying earlier, because this is a conversation I was having with somebody yesterday, right? Like especially now, like in 2023, right? Social media, like all these different business models, all these different opportunities, you know, it's like now more than ever, it's like for almost anybody, like I always go back to this, it's like there are people younger than you, dumber than you, with less experience than you, making more money than you.
Yeah.
Right? Why? A lot of the times, like the reason why is because, you know, certain people just take action, right? Like they don't overthink, they're not in paralysis analysis, and, you know, they're not just doubting every good thing that could possibly happen to them, but they just, you know, take action without thinking. And I think, you know, when you see someone who's 4 years younger than you, who's, you know, making like 5, 6, 7K a month, meanwhile you're still working like odd jobs at the time, right? It's like
making like 2 G's a month, bro.
The thing is, like, we're on sales calls all the time. Like, there are people who see people younger, dumber, less experienced than them, making more money than them, and they're just like, no, that's not possible, right? And they just write it off because that's easier for them to do than accept, hey, maybe it's just me. Maybe there's something that, you know, I'm not taking action on or something I could take advantage of more. And for you, that's what you did, right?
Yeah.
You took advantage, you went all in. And if someone's younger than you, making more money than you, and they have less experience than you, that's either gonna, demotivate you and you'll say, nah, it's bullshit, it's a scam, it's not real.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna motivate you to another level where like, if he's doing it, there's no way I can't do it.
For sure. And then I also kind of look at the flip side of things, because like I have a very close friend who's 2 years older than me. He graduated from a very solid university in a very solid program, and he couldn't get anything going once he finished school. Spent all this money, got all this credibility, worked his ass off to get this degree, and he's now in a position where like he's scraping by. And so I kind of look at like the flip side of things too, like people older than you who are more credible in the world of life, who are achieving far less than you are. It's like, yeah, this works. Like this is something that you really can do, and this is a great opportunity, because maybe you're doing what you thought you should have been doing and are now achieving less than what you're doing now. It's like it's a wake-up call, if you know what I'm saying.
And I feel like too, like even through sales, right? Because all day, every day, for years now, right? We're talking to people who want to make a change, right? They want more in their life. They're looking to join some kind of opportunity where they can do that. And it's like, you learn so much from everyone else's mistakes.
Oh, 100%.
It's like literally all you're doing on these sales calls is you're just figuring out people's life paths, where they messed up, what are their regrets, and what do they want to do now, And you can learn a lot from other people's mistakes.
Yeah, just listening, bro. Honestly, like I've gotten a lot better at listening to people since started doing this. And like if you genuinely listen to people, you can really see what's going on with them. Like they'll tell you what's up.
So Ben, you were closing. Yeah, it was about a year. You were doing pretty good. Nothing crazy, right?
I would say like probably 4 to 6K a month would be in that wheelhouse. Maybe sometimes a little bit more, but generally that was whereabouts I was. So like I was doing like, in my eyes, I was doing like what a university graduate my age coming out of school would about be making. So I was like, yeah, I'm doing cool. Like things are good. I get to work on my own speed, at my own place, on my own schedule, and I'm doing as good as my peers. So I'm like, yeah, it's cool, like sweet. And that's pretty much where it was. And then obviously like, transitioning to down the line, I started exceeding that and doing more and more. And I think that that's like a big testament to like opportunity meets preparation, because I was grinding out the calls, I was working hard, but I didn't necessarily have exactly the opportunity, where maybe I did, maybe I just wasn't seizing it, but I didn't feel like I had the opportunity to really go and ascend myself to that next level as far as sales and commissions go.
And a lot of people would quit, and a lot of people have.
Yeah, like, of course, we've seen it.
Like
sure.
if they don't get what they want immediately, they're like, all right, I'm just going to give up. And it's exactly what you said: preparation meets opportunity. Because this year, you switched over we started working with one of the biggest online business coaches in the world.
Yeah.
Somebody with a massive reputation.
Yeah.
And then basically the moment that you got plugged into that offer, like your first month, how much did you, in total sales, how much did you do?
Over 100 G's, well over 100 G's, probably like 120.
Right.
US. So like, it's like 15 G's, 16 G's Canadian commission.
Talk a little bit about that, like the past couple of months, like what that's been like, why you feel like you've been able to.
That's a two-part story. So like I went to Europe for a month, like you guys know. Went to Europe, kind of just like reset, did a bunch of nice places, saved some money, earned some money, went away on a nice vacation. It's a blessing. And then I'm away. So like I'm in the south of France, I'm in Monaco, I'm in Nice, I'm in Mykonos, partying on the islands in Greece, I'm in Rome, I'm in Amalfi Coast, and I'm like, holy shit, like it takes so much money to actually go and do what I want to do in this life, let alone like even maybe starting a family one day, but like just to have the fun that I want to have in my life. This shit is so expensive. And I came back from the trip and I'm like, okay, I'm doing fine, but like I need to be doing something else, or else I'm just not going to get to where I want to go. So I think that like it was a combination of like the reset of the vacation, just like the realization that I needed to accelerate, and then like I said, the opportunity that presented itself, whatever it was 4, 5, 6 months ago, that was just like the big mold, and it just kind of flipped this switch where it's like, okay, yeah, this is now the direction that I need to be heading in.
I think it's interesting that you kind of bring up the opportunity needs preparation, which is very true. But then you also bring up this huge client that we got, which is great. But in reality, I don't think that it's the client that got you from making, $4 to $6 grand a month to making 10 to 15 to 20 grand. I don't think that's it. Because I remember very vividly, I think it was the day that you got back, the day you landed, you texted me to say, hey, just landed in Toronto. And like, dude, it was almost word for word. You're like, I'm ready to go fucking harder than ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember that's pretty much what you said. And the reality of it is like, yes, you did have probably a bit of a better opportunity, but the vehicle itself is not what allowed you to like double, actually even probably triple your income, right? I think, yeah, that did help a little bit because, yeah, the needs were a little bit warmer. But I think really it's that mindset switch, right? That I think it's the fact that you were making, you know, $4 to $6 grand a month and you were okay with it because you saw what your peers were doing. You saw what people who, you know, went to university or college, graduated, got a job, you saw what they were making and you're like, okay, I'm around the, you know, the same level. But then when you went on that vacation and like you said, you realized that, look, the life that I want to live is not cheap. That's when you're like, okay, $4 to $6 grand a month, it's okay, but it's not okay for me, right? So I think that is a huge thing. And yeah, you did get a better opportunity. There's no doubt, and weeds are better on it. But I think really what I would say that I've seen, you know, coaching you through the years, I have never seen you work as hard and as like consistently as you have in the last few months.
Yeah.
Right. And you know this, like you back then, we're fairly consistent. Mm-hmm. You know, you would have days where you just, you know, randomly take a day off.
Yeah, go golf,
like,
go
golf,
go
do
whatever
something else. And you still do it now, but now it's not just like sporadic. Now it's earned, you know. So now it's like you're putting in the work that it takes to get to that higher level. And that, back then you weren't, right? So let me ask you this. For everybody listening, what's kind of like one piece of advice or maybe one thing that people should do to kind of flip their mindset from being okay with, you know, average $5 cents rent a month to really flip that switch and wanting to strive for more and wanting to be above average and not settling?
It sounds cliche, but it's like something that you always said, and it's like what I heard with baseball too is like, you got to really look in the mirror and align your actions with what you want to do in this life. Like if you're not, like I was staying till 9 o'clock every single day. I was, you know, putting in, granted, maybe I come in 10 or 11, but I'm here till 9, 10 o'clock. Like I'm working 12 hours nonstop on video calls, nonstop on the phone. Not feeling sorry for yourself and really making sure that you're doing what needs to be done to get to where you want to go. That's the best advice that I could give. And that's the best advice anyone can get. And it's a lot easier said than done. But if you're logging those hours and you're putting that time in consistently, and you're getting, you know, marginally better every single day, it will pay its dividends and an opportunity will find you. Opportunities find people who are prepared. Like that's kind of, I'm a very superstitious guy. I truthfully believe that that's how the world spins, is if you're putting the time in and you're working consistently, you're going to be a lot more likely to find something that's going to help you than somebody who's just, you know, lugging their ass around.
I read a while ago, and I'm like, that is bullshit. And then the more I kind of lived life and made more money and grinded it out, I know this is very true. And it says, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Whether you're a superstitious person or not, that's the reality of it.
It's like we're all sports fans too. It's like good shooters get good roles. There's a reason why like the best shooters, like they get these bounces. It's because they've taken the most shots. They're the most prepared. It's not a fluke. It's like, it's literally how I believe that's literally just how it works.
And I think too, like when it comes to standards and like, you know, what you set for yourself, like everybody's chasing like 10 grand a month. And I remember when I was, you know, and it's like 10 grand a month, you know, but like even now, man, like it's, like especially like what do you want out of life, right? The basics. You want to have a nice spot, decent car, be able to travel the world, have fun with your friends, enjoy life, help out your family. Like you can't do that on 10 grand a month. It's really got to be 15, 20, 30 to even start doing that, you know?
1,000,000%, bro. And like I always, like I was having a conversation with someone actually last week about this, and like, so there's a rapper who I listen to, his name's Dave East, and like he has a bar where he's like jumped out that gray van, thought I was rich with like 8 grand. And like I remember like being younger and like thinking like, oh my God, I got a little bit of money, like I did it, like I'm here, I made it. Like I made it. And like that's like, it's the same testament to what you said. Like you reach these echelons of like success and then it's like, oh, it's not gonna cut it. I'm not like, obviously once you get to that certain point where you're like, hey, like you say sometimes, like, you know, you could put your feet up a little bit if you're making 30, 40 G's a month. Then you could kind of relax a little bit and kind of like, go and do that. But like until you're there, like you're probably not going to be living the life that you want.
Yeah, and it's like the standards you set before you achieve something, right? Because like a lot of people in your position, 24 years old, doing 15 grand a month, on track to do like what, 150, 200 grand by the end of the year. That's insane, right? But a lot of people would get to that point and be like, yeah, I made it. I'm doing better than everybody else. So like, I'm just going to kick my feet up, right? But like, you got to be able to lock in and like not get complacent, right? Like Dylan uses that word all the time, but like especially in sales, when you're on 100% commission and when you have the capability to make 2-3 grand a day in commissions, cash, it's like, what are you going to do? If you make $1,000 by noon, what type of individual are you? The type of individual that would leave and just call it, hey, I made $1,000 by noon? Or are you the type of individual to figure out, okay, how can I make it 3 before I leave for the day, you know?
And that's like, I feel like, honestly, just like touch on that, like a lot of my best days, I'm closing deals late into the night when I'm still actively seeking like to really blow this day out of proportion. Like, okay, you made, $600-700 Canadian in the day, solid day of work. For some people that's a solid week of work. And it's like, what am I gonna do to give myself an opportunity to make $1,000 today, to make $1,500 today? And just really having that accountability to like continue to show up and continue to press, because bro, me and you both know, like, you make $500-600-700 for the day and you're like, sweet, that's awesome, good day's work. Let's go to the gym. Let's go watch sports. Let's go, whatever, grab a beer. And it's like, that's a good day. I'm satisfied. That can't be the mentality.
And I think that naturally, even if you have a great day and make $1,000 today in commissions, if you slip up and you allow yourself to take the rest of the day off, an afternoon or the evening, you ain't gonna come back strong tomorrow. You think, hey, I'll just do it again tomorrow. It's never like that. Why? Because you allowed yourself to slip up. You allowed yourself to lower your standards. You allowed yourself to settle for less than what you could and less than what's possible, right? So I think that's super important, right? Once you get it low, you can't get out of flow. I think another question I have for you, or what really helped you stay focused on sales over these last couple of years, right? Because we've seen a lot of people, we laugh at them now, but we've seen a lot of people, make a couple thousand, 10 grand, whatever, with crypto or some shit. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to become a trader. I'm going to launch it or some bullshit like that, right? We laugh at them now, but they're all broke, right? So like, how did you stay focused? How did you stay in line and avoid that shiny object syndrome, which a lot of people have? It's unfortunate, but it is the reality for a lot of people. So how did you cut out all the noise and just really stay focused in sales, especially when you weren't making a whole lot of it?
It's a good question. And like, to be honest with you, I don't know exactly what it would be. Probably something internally that just has me, wanting to keep pursuing this, wanting to keep doing this and showing up day in, day out. But I think like you're a big testament to it. I think Mish is a big testament. I think just like seeing that there is that opportunity to consistently be making money doing this, on a day-to-day basis, on a month-to-month basis, and really just going and pursuing it like that. I think that really helped me a lot. And honestly, I'll be completely honest, like my pops too, like my pops was in sales his whole life, and like I'd come home, I'd like, he's, oh, how'd your day go? Like, oh, I did well. And he'd be like, oh, that's sick. Like, and like I could see like he's excited. And I think that like that helped me a lot too. Like, to be quite honest with you, just like seeing that, like having the direct support, like, a lot of people might drop out of school and go into a sales job and then like have like resentment from their parents of like, oh, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Especially like, my mom's 2 brothers, dentist, doctor, my dad's 2 siblings, eye doctor, dentist. Like, he got it. Like, he was me, as far as what he did with his business and with his life financially. And like having that support helped for sure. But I think the biggest thing's probably just like knowing that you can take something like this to, to this, having an office space, having that freedom, having that mobility, doing what you want. And I wasn't going to get there without being accountable and holding myself accountable. And that's the biggest thing. I think it also ties back into baseball too. Like, going through this after so many years, like you see a lot of people quit, you see a lot of people fold, people who are really good who didn't pan out to what they should have been, people who are, excelling further than they probably should have. And it's just day in, day out. Like I said, not feeling sorry for yourself and showing up every single day. And that's what's gonna make you really successful in anything, as corny as that sounds.
I think it's also like fun, man.
I love it.
It's genuinely a blast. Like we're literally in this office. We've built this amazing team, this amazing culture of just all guys who, you know, get along with each other great. Like, we go out, we have dinners, we have fun together, but we also make money together, side by side. And, you know, we're laughing, cracking jokes the whole time.
No doubt, bro. Like, when I, like, you know, I pull up to the office and it's like, I feel like I'm hanging out. Like, I feel like obviously like I'm working and I'm working very hard, albeit, but like I don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really even feel like I feel like we're just like hanging out and all collectively doing what we need to do. Like, I don't feel like in the last year and a half, I don't really feel like I've worked, if that makes sense. Like, as crazy as it is to say, I don't really feel like I've worked. Compared to what my work used to be, that's the beauty of it, you know?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, work for, you know, a lot of people, it's like something that they dread, you know? Yeah. And it's like people feel like work should be something that like you don't want to do, but you do anyways, you know? Yeah. But it's like, yeah, like I don't neglect that for a second, you know? Like I don't take that for granted for a second. It's like every day, like I'm waking up excited, you know? I'm waking up excited for another day, excited to work, excited to get into the office. You know, I want to work Saturdays, Sundays, days off, you know? It's just like a perfect opportunity. Like, when you love what you do and it's lucrative, it's like, what other reason would you have for not maxing it out? Like, why wouldn't you? How couldn't you, you know?
100%, bro. And like you said too, like, I think that the environment that we've built and the people we're all surrounded with on a regular basis, everyone gets along really well. And like the best teams I've been a part of in any facet of my life are teams where everybody has that unity and everybody has that camaraderie and gets along well. I never felt like it was a matter of, oh, this guy's closing more than me, you know, fuck this guy. It was a matter of like, this guy's closing more than me. Good for you, man. I gotta go get you now. And I think that's like that mentality, it really fuels a lot of people.
Ben, you know, as you know now, like we've been in this game for like a long time, right? Just remote closing, high ticket sales, just the fact that there's so much opportunity and there's so many slots for new closers. Like, being a solid closer is the highest demand thing in the online space right now, right? Yeah. You know, a lot of people are stepping into this game and they've just heard about it, you know, or they're just finding out that it's possible to make this type of money working on this type of schedule wherever they want. Mm-hmm. What's like one piece of advice that you'd share with people who are maybe just stepping into the game for them to, you know, get to a place where they can actually make the kind of money you're making?
Not being a baby and showing up every single day. It's a lot of things that people don't want to do on a day-to-day basis, and odds are if you're doing those, you're going to be more likely to be doing what you do want to do. It's not something that is, you know, ridiculously unattainable, but it's certainly not something that's easy. Show up every single day, put your time into it, no different than if you were trying to lose weight, no different than if you were trying to get bigger and stronger. You got to do it every single day. Take your failures, take your medicine, reflect, move forward, and just push through it. Because, you know, you get on the phone for a day, you get on the phone for a week or a video call, whatever it might be, and you're, you know, you're hesitant and you're, oh, I got to hang up, what's this? You know, I feel sorry for myself. You're toast.
If you're the type of person that like you get one like no, or you have one bad week and then immediately like
you're in your head, oh my God, is this gonna work? Oh my God, what am I gonna do? Oh my God, I could have made more money this week if I was working at, you know, Walmart. And you're like, you should be getting up every single day with the mentality that, oh, I can make as much today as a big shot in Walmart. As opposed to, oh my God, if I don't make money today, I could have made more money at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could get up today and make more money than, you know, a high up in Walmart. As opposed to, you know, if I worked at Walmart, I would have made $100 today, and today I made $0. You can't feel sorry for yourself. That's what I'm a big believer in that. I'm like a really black and white, you know, objective thinking guy. Just get it done. And the reality of it is, Mish, and like you obviously know this, doing coaching and being in this game even longer than me, like you might not, you know, have what it takes to be really successful in this field. Not everyone does have what it takes to be really successful in this field. But until you give it your best shot, you're not going to know if you have it or not. Until you really get on the phone, until you really grind out a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, you're not going to know. Like you see, you know, I don't want to call them clowns, but like you see guys like, you know, they'll take 5 sales calls and it's like, oh, I don't like it. Like bro, you don't even know you don't even know if you like it or not.
You really see like what people are really about.
Yeah,
you know, like
when
they're on the sales floor for a good month, like you see how somebody ticks, you know.
Like in my career doing this, I'll be honest, I have seen there was one gentleman who came to work with us. He was a bit of an older gentleman, and no, I don't think it's who you're thinking of. And he was here for like a month on he sat over there. I sat right across from him. He was on the phone for like a month, grinding calls every day, CCs every day, and he never made a sale. And that's the one guy in my experience here who I could say like, hey, listen, man, it's not for you. But if you're not there, then like you don't actually know. Like you see people kind of just fall through the cracks, and it's like you don't know what you could have done. If you're there for X amount of time and it's really not working, you're putting your best effort for it. Okay, that's fine, no problem. Try and do something else. But that's like you don't really know unless it works.
It's about to add in the hot sauce.
That guy's a bubble tea addict, bro.
Ben, thanks for your time, man. I think it's super insightful. I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, I hope so. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. We got to do more of this.
I think that everything you've shared, both of your transformation from being a high-level athlete to sales and also your journey here, I think a lot of nuggets that you've shared are going to be super helpful and impactful for a lot of people. So I definitely appreciate you sharing. Keep working hard, keep staying consistent at that 50, 20K a month mark, and don't settle for that. All right, keep going, go for that next level too. Yeah. You know, you're young. I know you want to live a good life. You want to party, you want to have fun, and you already saw it ain't cheap. All right. So keep working hard. Keep putting in the work, and I'll see you on the sales or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Working hard.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Thanks for your time, bro. Have a great rest of your weekend, and looking forward to seeing what's next for you, man.
Awesome, bro. Thanks for having me.
Peace.